Freedom is protected by average, decent, honest Americans like you who refuse to back down when freedom's threatened.
The Institute for Legislative Action, it's a 365-day, 24/7 operation. We oversee all the defense of the Second Amendment in the courts. That's from local courts all the way up to the Supreme Court. We're involved in the state legislatures all across the country. Obviously, we're involved on Capitol Hill. And it's one of the great things about this organization, and one of the great benefits of membership is there's a staff here that care deeply about your rights.
You know, prior to 1968, the NRA had never endorsed candidates. We didn't have a political arm. There was no ILA.
We had seen some high-profile assassination in 1968, other things that led to the first federal coordinated gun control efforts being implemented.
Interestingly, after the passage of the 1968 Gun Control Act, which was the act which signaled the opening of the cultural wars on Second Amendment rights, the NRA was under pressure both from our friends in Congress and from our membership to reinvent itself. We'd never done that. Our board at that time didn't want to do it. They thought this was sort of a tacky thing to have to get involved in politics, and they resisted it. And some years later, at the behest of a number of our friends in Congress, primarily John Dingell, a Democrat from Michigan who's still there, said, look, you can teach gun safety until the cows come home, you can run competitions, you can talk about hunting, you can do all these things, and none of it's going to matter unless you stand up for the Second Amendment, because if you don't, no one else is going to be able to do it.
That NRA needed to have a concerted effort in the political legislative arena and also the legal arena. We needed to have professionals running the day-to-day operations of our legislative, legal, and political fights, and so they formed the Institute for Legislative Action in 1975.
And the NRA became not just a service organization, but an advocacy organization, the likes of which this country had not seen before.
In 1975, when we were formed, there was a national discussion on banning all handguns, and it was a serious discussion. It was getting a lot of traction.
Those who provide the guns for those that pull the triggers must be held accountable as well.
We are a bad dream to the gun industry.
And there were maybe a handful of states, less than 6, that recognized the right to carry by statute, that allowed for honest Americans to carry firearms for self-defense. So we started working state by state.
You know, when you look out, you see these signs, freedom, freedom, freedom everywhere. That's what it's about.